Before I get started today, if my content is something that you enjoy, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell and you can get notifications every time I make a new video. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you could do one or more of those things, it would really help my channel to grow, feed my ego, appease the algorithm gods, and help me to make more content just like this. One thing I've noticed about Chibnal Who is that it really benefits from a rewatch, which is strange because the episodes themselves haven't really changed. No longer our mind juices steeping in the pits of hyperbolic bullshittery and culture war raging hellmouth that was fondly remembered as the 2010s. It is the 2020s, a much more prosperous era, where we can look at these episodes with a new eye and a fresh perspective. A lot of these reviews, this one in particular, was planned to be a rant. But now that I've actually rewatched the thing, I have to change my strategy. So from here on with these reviews, I'm just going to be doing the really good episodes and the really shit ones. The really good ones, because with all the negativity, someone needs to point out that this era wasn't a complete write-off, and the really shit ones, because hurting myself is the only way to get the voices to stop. Personally, I remember Kerblam as not only being a bad episode, but an insulting portrayal of the Doctor's character. Having the Doctor, a character who is very much of the political left, spout conservative talking points while shilling for Space Amazon. Let's see if it holds up. Wow, that was nowhere near as bad as I remember. Kerblam! AKA Sunmakers 2, Amazon Boogaloo. AKA Doctor Who and the Robots of Online Shopping. AKA Neoliberalism in Space! It's an episode about an Amazon-like company called Kerblam that gained a monopoly on the entire economy of the planet of Kandoka, fully automated its workforce, and then caused a jobs crisis. Thanks to a new law, 10% of their company must be people-led. But to make up for the losses of efficiency that squishy organics are kind of good at, they're fit with trackers on their ankles, subjected to ridiculous and oppressive working conditions, while being told they are so lucky to have jobs. We open the episode with the Doctor and fam trying to escape a thing. The thing catches up to them and then appears in the TARDIS, and they discover that it's not a thing, it's a Kerblam man, a delivery robot working for Kerblam, the biggest delivery service in the universe. Many have wondered how this thing got into the TARDIS while it's in flight, but I put it down to the Doctor forgetting to put the shields up again. I'm more concerned with how this megacorporation has time travel capability, yet somehow has not conquered the universe yet. This delivery robot has a box, and inside that box is a fez! Likely purchased by Eleven one time when Clara and River teamed up to destroy every fez in the TARDIS. I know they technically didn't meet in the show, but I have my own headcanon. Also inside the box is bubble wrap, dramatic chord, and a dispatch card with the words "Help Me" written on it. Ryan, having worked at a warehouse before, says that's probably a joke, but Yaz, being a cop trained to take any cry for help seriously, took it seriously. What if someone really does need help? This is based on something that actually happened in real life, more than once. In 2017, a 13-year-old girl found a note in her Amazon order pleading for help, describing the management as evil. In 2018, an 18-year-old student found a note that said, "Please help, Amazon is painful." I've spoken before about the exploitation of Amazon warehouse workers, mostly in a joking manner, but it's anything but. Needless to say, it's a sad situation, and the more you know about it, the sadder it gets. From ridiculous hours, exploitative quotas, poor work-life balance, toxic work environments, where managers track your movement, listen to every word that you say, constantly holding the threat of dismissal over your head if you utter the wrong thing at the wrong time to the wrong person, and management training videos that teach managers how to spot worker organization and stop union movements in their tracks, to people literally having to piss in bottles because they can't go to the toilet and meet their quotas at the same time, as if they are just flesh androids who exist for the sole purpose of generating profit. This being the subject matter, let's hope that this episode treats it with the seriousness that it deserves. Yeah, nah, it doesn't. They land on the moon of Kandoka, and the Doctor tells them enthusiastically that Kerblam turned the entire moon into a massive warehouse that distributes all over the galaxy, and she gets very enthusiastic about everything Kerblam, while Ryan just feels like he's at work. In fact, she's been acting very enthusiastic about Kerblam as if she's a spokeswoman for them, ever since the Kerblam man showed up. For the uninitiated, this is the Doctor completely acting out of character. The Doctor isn't exactly a fan of megacorporations. They're more of a freedom fighter, taking down systems of oppression wherever they see them. They're also not exactly what you'd call pro-capitalism. Only a season ago, 12 did speeches about how shit he finds capitalism not once but twice. And he's not the only Doctor who has Marxist leanings. 8 was redder than Lenin's pajamas.
Red? Lenin? No, they were sort of mauve when I took the train with him from Switzerland to Petrograd. Remarkable mind, Leonard. Terrible at tiddlywinks.
To all of the Doctor's incarnations, currency was always seen as sort of like an afterthought. 12 never carried money, always getting Clara to pay for shit. Neither did 11 or 10. 9 raided ATMs, the 7th Doctor once shoplifted cat food, and when he does pay for stuff, he can't figure out what currency he's supposed to use. They are anti-corruption, anti-exploitation, and dead against any systems that will promote it. In short, the Doctor is the last person you'll catch shilling for space Amazon. They decide to pretend to be employees, going undercover to find out what's going on. They're put into the system, they meet the head of people management, this stripper lady who proceeds to give them all biological scans complete with virtual cavity search to ascertain what department they're suited for. She puts a tracking bracelet on their ankles to monitor them constantly. They're designated different departments and then given to the robot managers to put them to work. Ryan and the Doctor are in packing! Here they meet Kira, who was born into poverty and has never received a present in her life. She waxes lyrically about how much happiness they are bringing to the rich people who are rich enough to afford to shop at Kerblam. She's just happy to have a job, regardless of how difficult, monotonous, or in general shit things are. She's very resilient. Meanwhile, Yaz is in dispatch, checking off customer orders with Dan. Not that one. He's an all-round nice guy with a daughter back home who's providing for and can only afford to visit twice a year. You'll find that every workplace has that person who's been there for ages, knows all the ins and outs, and is just very, very nice and looks out for everyone, and he's that. He's a moral employee, very, very nice guy, and at this point he might as well be wearing a shirt that says, "I am going to die soon, please feel sorry for me." He warns Yaz not to ask too many questions. The robot overlords could be listening at any time, and she doesn't want to get the sack on her first day, and lots of people seem to be getting sacked lately. Back in packing, Kira is bullied by the boss. The Doctor stands up for her, schooling him on proper management strategy and sending him running because he's likely never had to deal with anyone answering back before. Kira warns the Doctor to be careful. People have been disappearing and everyone just assumes that they've been sacked. Something Dan is kind enough to demonstrate when he disappears via creepy robot, leaving his scanner for Yaz to find before escaping other creepy robots. While all this is going on, Graham is being reminded not to drink the cleaning fluids. Anyone who has ever had to do online training for a supermarket chain or a petrol station would likely get a laugh out of this. This is Charlie! He's a good boy. He's training Graham and he's hopelessly in love with Kira. Just as he's telling Graham the finer points of not getting fired, the power goes out again, forcing a mandatory rest break. The team regroup and Yaz tells the Doctor what she found. They have to find out what's happening, so the Doctor tells Graham, who brought his mop on break for some reason, to find out the history of the company and get plans of the complex, because he's a janitor and he can do that, while the rest of them go to management to file a complaint. The Doctor tells them all about the people going missing and the note she got in her delivery. They promise to do something about it, but the Doctor isn't convinced. So her, Ryan and Yaz hide out until everybody goes home for the day so they can snoop around, while Graham and Charlie steal the plans for Kerblam's layout. The Doctor and co manage to find some dirt on paper in filing cabinets, only to get caught, because of course they fucking did. They have trackers on their legs. They discover that the boss man is keeping a running tally of the people going missing. It's been going on for a few months now. As head of people, Boss Lady is clearly guilty of some negligence. Doctor is ripping into her when there is a total system shutdown. Graham and Charlie show up and they're followed by a robot. I wonder if he'll be friends with them.
Your plastic pal is fun to be with.
Anyway, the robot of retail attacks Charlie, the Doctor rips its head off, the system has gone rogue, and it's not management's fault. The boss lady is really nice, and has been working her entire life to decrease automation in favour for human workforces, and was completely clueless that any of this was going on. Since the system is clearly at fault, the Doctor needs an uncorrupted version of the system. So they grab a 2-century-old delivery robot, and it won't stop talking about bargains. Suddenly, Boss Lady gets a notification. Kira, that nice girl from before, has gone missing. She was last recorded in Dispatch, a fully automated part of the complex. It's all a misunderstanding. Clearly, she's one employee of the day, and Kerblam has a present for her. So some robots lead her into a concrete reinforced room that's definitely not designed to contain explosions, to receive a special present from Kerblam. It's Ryan, Charlie, and Yaz to the rescue! They go down a slide and ride some conveyors, while the Doctor plugs old Twirly here into the system, and it sparks a bit, and it starts asking for help. The system is talking through the robot, begging the Doctor to help. It wasn't a person who sent the message after all. It was the system itself! And urgent help is required, please! The Doctor uses one of the robots to teleport down to Dispatch, just as Boss Man points a gun at her. He teleports her with them, the Doctor disarms them, and it's all a complete misunderstanding. The reason why he was acting villainous this entire time and had a list of everyone who disappeared is because he was just reporting them. He was trying to get to the bottom of it. He knew that there was something wrong with the system and he didn't know who he could trust. Really, he's a nice guy. He's just stressed is all. That's why he's been acting like a toxic asshole to everyone who works under him. He's just stressed. It's fine. Don't worry. So, the system isn't to blame. The people in charge of the system, who have been set up as villains this entire time, are nice actually. So who or what is behind all the disappearances? Where are the missing workers? Oh, there they are. They came across their liquefied remains. And oh look, it's an army of delivery robots, ready to deliver their packages all at once. I wonder if they'll be friends with me. Meanwhile, Ryan, Yaz and Charlie have found Kira. She's just been given a box. And inside the box is a sheet of bubble wrap. But not just any bubble wrap. This is special bubble wrap. The kind that explodes if you pop it. Charlie Boy is freaking out. Even before she pops it, he knows what it is. He was the villain all along. Charlie, you bad boy. Charlie made the deadly bubble wrap, but he needed people to test it on. Hence the missing workers. The company made him watch as Kira, the girl he loves, dies, to make him see the error of his ways. His plan is to send the deadly bubble wrap to thousands of customers all at once, in the hope that people will pop the bubble wrap, die, and naturally, they will all blame the robots, and not the company who sent the robots. Which means no more automation, unlimited rice pudding, and jobs for all. The doctor tells him that he's not an activist, he's just a murderer. And it's not the system that's the problem, it's the people who abuse the system. People like him. There's a lot to unpack here. We could take this a few ways. I've seen reviews that interpret this as the doctor talking about automation. There's nothing wrong with automation in practice. The technology can be used to improve the quality of a lot of people's lives. It could also be used to replace entire professions, putting countless people out of work, which is the case here. She could also be talking about the system. The system, the computer system in charge, which is also fucked. The Kerblam system unprompted killed Kira, just to make a point. And it didn't even work. It made the decision to kill. Kira was an innocent, guilty only of being the object of Charlie's desire. That entire situation is completely fucked, and the doctor just brushes it off as if her death was somehow a sad but necessary sacrifice to maintaining the status quo. Honestly, any computer system that makes a decision that someone is expendable should be shut down for that reason. But I think they're more talking about the systems in general, the economic, the structural systems that mega corporations act under. We are talking about a company that functions under an economic system that prioritizes profit. Amazon doesn't exploit its workers because it's an evil company run by evil people. It happens because the economics of a capitalist system drives them to value profit over all else. It is profitable to enforce insane quotas. It is profitable to limit break time and time bathroom breaks. It's also very profitable to replace entire workforces with automation because it costs less to maintain automated systems than it does to pay thousands of workers. That's why Kerblam is almost fully automated, Doctor. And yes, Kerblam still hires people, but only because they legally have to. And they underpay them and exploit the crap out of them to maximize their profitability. When a system values profit over people, and there are no systems in place to stop it, exploitation and automation are the end result. That's not the people at the top exploiting the system. That's not even a bug in the system, that is a feature. It's the system operating as intended. The system allowed Kerblam to gain monopoly and cause a jobs crisis, which left people disenfranchised, desperate, without hope, and when that sort of shit happens, it's only a matter of time before people start a violent revolution. Charlie Boy here is the product of such a society, of such a system, where people are ground down by poverty, debt, and the crushing knowledge that there is no possible way to elevate their situation in life. This is a reality that many living in the modern day know too well. In the United States or the UK, where the disparity between the rich and the poor is extreme. When times are tough and people feel that their situation is hopeless, they react on emotion alone. They don't think rationally, which leads many people to do very crazy and very violent things. Charlie Boy's method is fucked, but his cause is very sympathetic. But the doctor just sort of comes off as thinking that he doesn't know how good he has it in the first place. It just seems completely out of touch, and I worry what sort of a message this is sending the audience. No other incarnation of the Doctor would have said this. It's out of character even for this one to say it. For this entire episode, she has been acting like the world's best union boss. Only a season ago, the Doctor said stuff like this.
The end point of capitalism. Bottom line, where human life has no value at all. We're fighting an algorithm. A spreadsheet. Like every worker everywhere.
And this!
What makes you so sure that your life is worth more than those people out there on the ice? Is it the money? The accident of birth? Puts you inside that big fancy house? Human progress isn't measured by industry. It's measured by the value you place on a life. An unimportant life. A life without privilege. That's what defines an age. That's what defines a species.
To all of you saying this era is woke, you have very poor media comprehension, or a very shallow definition of what woke means. This era is more conservative and keen on maintaining the status quo than Trump's dick. Anyway, the Doctor saves the day by reprogramming the robots to blow themselves up, and Charlie Boy chooses to stay and die for his beliefs. The employees get a full paid 2 weeks off, and management promises to make Kerblam a more people-run company in future. No, really, they promise. Pinky swear. Overall, Kerblam would be a competent episode. It's well paced, all the companions get stuff to do, the implementation of misdirection was good, and the villain's identity is enough of a surprise while not coming completely out of left field. What really annoys me about this episode is that it's based off real-life people suffering real-life exploitation who felt they had no other option but to cry out to the customers by sneaking a note into their package. When this is the basis of your story, you need to treat it with the seriousness it is due. Instead, they made a story where the workers are exploited, management are well-meaning idiots, the company is the real victim here, and any exploited worker pushing for change is a dangerous terrorist. It's not the system that's the problem, it's people who want to change the system that's the problem. Seriously, fuck this episode. It reads like it was written by Jeff Bezos himself, and shits all over the pain that it was based off. But instead of getting even more angry, I'm just gonna list what previous incarnations would have done in this situation. 12 would have given a speech similar to his anti-war speech. When you push that button, no matter how right you feel, etc, etc. Talk him down and tell him how to start a union movement. The 11th Doctor was far too twee to care, but 10 would have gone full-time Lord Victorious on their ass. He just has to tell them who he is, where he comes from, and demand that they change things. Think that episode set on New Earth, where they were stuck in traffic for the entire time. The 10th Doctor has that power. The 9th Doctor would have given everybody a very stern talking to, basically calling everyone out on their bullshit and making everyone feel like they're pricks. While Rose falls in love with Charlie Boy because we all know that she has a type, he'll go along with them for the next episode before fucking up royally so the Doctor can leave him at home scarred and deformed. The 8th Doctor, card-carrying Marxist he was, who shared a train ride with Lenin, would have given Charlie Boy a copy of the Communist Manifesto and Das Kapital, shut down the robots and led the workers in a revolution, seizing the means of production and rebuilding Kerblam as a communist utopia, where every worker has a part ownership and can vote on who's in charge, how much they get paid, and how they use the profits. The 7th Doctor, the chessmaster incarnation, would have already won before exiting the TARDIS, and the 6th Doctor, in his TV run and in his TV run only, would have thought that Charlie's plan was a great plan and would definitely work. He would have taken the remote off Charlie and activated the robot death squad with his ballsack, while Perry cowers in the corner. He was a cunt like that, and that's why we love him.